Today's Leadership Corner conversation is about breaking barriers, expanding opportunities, and creating lasting impact. Our guest shares how her experiences as a first-generation, low-income, and DACA student inspired a lifelong commitment to helping others achieve their educational goals while strengthening communities across Arkansas. Hey, welcome to It's a YP Thing podcast. I'm Pansy Johnson, and our mission is to impact the next generation of leaders through authentic conversations and real life experiences. Y'all, I'm so excited to be back with another episode of the Leadership Corner series. And as you see, we have a guest today, and I'm so excited to introduce her. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our wonderful guest that we have today. She is a higher education and community development professional committed to expanding access to post-secondary education. She's a community outreach manager for federally funded TRIO programs connecting first-generation, low-income, and underrepresented students with college access resources. So important. She holds a master's degree in higher education and student affairs from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. She is the co-founder and director of development for Mamás Unidas LR, leading fundraising strategy and year-round community programming. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Miss Sandra Carmona Jobe. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today. Thank you for thinking of me.
Absolutely. Well, welcome. What you all do not know, me and Sandra, we crossed paths through the North Little Rock Chamber. And so met her. She was telling me a little bit about like what she does through the TRIO program and just the students that she's impacting. I was like, I got to have you on the podcast. Okay, we want to hear more about your story, the impact that you're making, and how we can support. So super excited for you to be here. So I wanted to go back a little bit to the beginning. So tell us about your upbringing and what inspired your passion for higher education.
Yeah, so as you can hear from my accent, which they say is a little bit like a Mexican with a Southern accent, you can tell I'm not from here. So I was born in Mexico, and I moved to the U.S. at the age of 8. So I started here at the 4th grade. And then from there, I've been able to, all the way to my master's, specifically here in Little Rock. So, my parents did not go to school. All they did was elementary education. And for me, I knew that education was the way to go if we wanted a better future for ourselves. So
That's so awesome. And being that first generation, you know what I mean? Like being that first generation student, coming over here to a new country, how would you say that impacted you in those early years?
Yeah, so at first, just having to learn the language, and you're not focused on like, I know 4th grade, they're probably teaching like the planets and all that stuff. And it's like, I don't know the early history. I was too busy trying to learn English. So, but I feel like that didn't necessarily set me behind. Instead, it gave me more motivation and perseverance to keep moving forward. And I feel like that allowed me to become more like a go-getter. Like, okay, you think I can't do this because of my limitations with the language or whatever the case it may be. It's like, okay, let me show you. And then just pushing myself that way.
I love that. Just taking your experiences and using them to grow. Right. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we face things in life that are challenges in a sense. And for some people, that can hold them back, but you use that to just really propel you forward.
Exactly.
In a sense. So I want to know, like, what was the point? Did you know early on, just growing up, that you were interested in higher education specifically?
Right. And not really. It was just like, when I started middle school, I was always like, okay, I'm going to do what they tell me. In school, I'm just going to, if they tell me to do your homework, I'm going to do your homework. So I was like a pretty good student, but college was really not in my mind at that point. And then one time I remember I was in gym and I was doing my homework. So I was a little nerd. So I was doing my homework in gym class. And one of the teachers passed by and she said, you know what? I want you to be in my AVID program. And I don't know if you're familiar with AVID, but it stands for advancement via individual determination. So basically, they prepare students such as myself to start thinking about college. So those that might oftentimes fall between the cracks. So I was like, sure, like I said, I always did what they told me. So I was like, sure, I'll go to this interview and So next thing you know, I was an AVID, and I was in that program from 7th grade all the way to 12th grade. So at that point, it's a specific class that you take, and all they talk about is like college, like just setting you up and making college like this is what you're expected to do. That's awesome. For me, a lot of times it was more of an expectation at that point, and I'm sure a lot of people know Miss McAdoo. I went to Central, so Miss McAdoo, she's well known in the community, and she was my AVID teacher for 4 years. So she just makes sure she took care of us, that she really inspired us to do better for ourselves. So,
wow, I love that. So, what would you, would you say that Miss McAdoo, was she your mentor in a sense?
Yeah, definitely for all of us that were in AVID classes, and she especially helped me, which I know we'll probably get into in a minute. Whenever I was in the 12th grade, everybody's getting ready for college then. Well, I found that I didn't find out necessarily. I knew, but I didn't know how much of a barrier it was going to be that at that point I was undocumented. And that set a lot of challenges on how to get into college. And it was like, I have a 4-point plus GPA. I'm involved in the community. I'm doing everything I can in school, involved in everything. And it's like now they're saying I can't get financial aid like FAFSA, Arkansas Lottery. I can't get any of those because of my immigration status. So that really was a pivotal point for me. It was like, do I keep trying hard and get into college and see how I can figure it out, or do I just go into the workforce? So through the grace of God, people came together and really made it happen, where I had teachers, like I said, I went to Central. I had teachers meeting just to see how are we going to get this girl into college. I had teachers going to their own personal pockets. I had individuals reach out. I'll never forget this one. She reached out to a friend from Chicago and asked him, and he sent me a check. I never met this person. Up to this point, I don't, but he sent me a check to buy my laptop for college. Yeah, strangers helping. And they came together with other nonprofits. They were able to give me to ULR. They had another teacher that I had in my 9th grade year. She gave me a scholarship every year of my college. Yes. So, everybody came together. And my first semester of college, I went from having to pay out-of-state tuition with no financial aid to having a $500 refund check. And this happened within like 2-3 months, like of my senior year before we graduated. So it was amazing to see the community come together to help me make it happen. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's a pivotal moment.
Yes.
Before that moment, did it ever occur to you that, hey, my immigration status might keep me from being able to, go to college in a sense, or further my education? Did it ever cross your mind?
I knew my status. I was always very aware of it. But, for me, it was like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. Exactly. They tell me, do this, do your homework, keep good grades, get involved in the community.
Right.
And I'm doing all that. So I don't see why I wouldn't have the same opportunity as my classmates that we grew up together. We, went to the same elementary, middle, high school, and they're getting scholarships left and right, and their grades might not be as great as mine or just as good, and they're getting great opportunities. So why shouldn't I? Especially because it's just a document, right?
Right.
So thankfully during that time, President Barack Obama at that time passed the DACA, and that it's what allowed me to be able to get a driver's license, a work permit, and even though I still had to pay out of state tuition, like twice as much, but I had all the help from the community.
Exactly.
And then I was now able to get a job and drive to my job with that driver's license to be able to pay for school. So I was basically working full time and going to school full time.
Wow. Talking about go-getter. Talking about go-getter. And the community piece.
Oh my God, yes.
You know, the community piece, like, despite the circumstances, like the community was able to come together, and obviously the DACA that coming, you know, being implemented, it was just perfect timing as well.
Yes.
But even with going through all that, now let's transition to you have this opportunity. You are going to college to further your education. How is that? How did that experience shape as you transitioned into college, into your next, next level?
Yeah, and as you can hear in the story, it's like the community come in, and it's like, okay, well, now I have this responsibility to help others, because unfortunately, I wasn't the only one in that situation. You know, you might say like, oh, that's so unique, you know, but there's 1,000 other Sandras that want to go to college because of their situation, whether it's low income or first generation, not having a mentor or undocumented, whatever the case is, they're not able to get into college. So I knew I was at a position of privilege at that point, and I felt like I had to do something about it. But before I got to that point, it was like, okay, I'm in college now. What are you majoring in? I don't know. Like, I was just concerned about getting into college that I didn't think that far out. So I graduated in 3.5 years from college, but like the first 3 years, I would say it was me like exploring majors, trying to figure out. And I remember meeting with the academic advisor in college, and she's like going through every single department and looking at all the things. And I'm just like, so I ended up just choosing like a random one, which now I'm surprisingly using it for my career. But it was mass communication. And I went with it. And during one of those classes, like my last semester, I had to do like a capstone internship type of thing. And at that point, I was helping like a friend or two from like lower grades get into college, like applications and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe I should just go. I enjoy doing this. Maybe I should go back to Central and help the students there with their applications and just kind of do assessment, almost like a counselor, and see how I like it. So I did. And then as part of that internship opportunity, I was going to go to it's this like annual thing where counselors get together and they hear from all the colleges. I can't think of the name right now, but I ran into my former trio counselor. When I was at Central, we had trio counselors. And when I saw her, I had like this pivotal moment, like this epiphany, like, oh, you're doing what I want to do. Like, you're getting paid for helping students. So why can't I do that? And then she's like, oh, yes, like, come talk to my boss, see if there's a position available. Let's make it happen. And, I was so excited, like, she's helping students go to college like I want to. She's getting paid like it's an actual job. So, you never hear like, oh, you'll be an advisor. You always hear like doctor, teacher, the
professor.
Right,
yes,
right.
Yes.
So I didn't even know that was a thing. And I never thought about it before until like I ran into her. And so I met with her boss, who's my boss now. She's still there. And she said, yeah, you can start in December. It was maybe like October or something. I was scheduled to graduate in December. And I was like, oh, I have this trip I'm taking and I have to graduate. And that trip was for advanced parole. It's like this immigration thing that will get you closer to being able to apply for status or whatever. But so, I had to go. And actually, I missed my bachelor's graduation because of that, but it was worth it. But anyways, that's a whole other story. So I was like, but once I'm back, January, I can. So graduation in December, January, I was already working with the TRIO programs. So it was really exciting to like see things kind of moving forward. And I was like, okay, I made it happen. I'm in this position. How can I really help students now?
Wow. And all I could think is, in one season of your life, you were trying to get into college, right? You were faced with this challenge. The community rallied behind you. You went to college and obviously, did everything you were supposed to do, took full advantage of this opportunity. And here you are standing where you can be able to actually help the upcoming generation behind you that may even come across students that are facing the same thing.
Right. And especially because, I didn't mention earlier, but just trying to get into college that summer semester or the summer before, school started in the fall, it was like, oh, you do qualify for this scholarship. And I'm excited, like, I might have something. They're like, oh, never mind. So I remember, like, being in my room just crying, like, I really want to go. And my mom's, like, consoling me there, like, it'll happen. But I'm just, like, crying. And then I remember the summer hit at ULR. They're like, oh, well, we think you'll be considered international because of your status and DACA and all that. And they're like, oh, no, you'll be a domestic. So it's like now they're sending me to a completely different office. And I'm like, when I remember like my folder and just like sweating and just going back and forth between offices trying to figure out what I have to do. So having to figure all that out on my own, that's when it was like, okay, these students are struggling too. Now I see why other minorities are not getting into college as often as they should. So back to TRIO, that serving specifically low-income, first-generation students, I knew that was the place I needed to be to help students with similar backgrounds as mine to get them or to make that difference and help them provide access to education.
So good. And you've lived it. It's one thing to it's one thing when you apply for an organization, right? You can learn the customs and get to know the background of the students in that role. But you've actually can relate. Exactly. You have a different type of story that really connects to the role that you're in. So I wanted to ask, any advice for any students that may be in that position right now, right? May feel like college isn't an option. They're trying to figure out, they're battling their immigration status. They want to further their education. They're also battling with being identified in that underrepresented community, being a minority, lack of resources. What advice would you give them right now if they're facing that?
Yeah, and one thing I've always said, if there's a will, there's a way. And that's something I live by. If you really want it, you're going to make it happen. You're and even, my faith is strong, and I believe that God will give you or put you in the position to make it happen. It's just a matter of figuring out, is this really what I want to do? And then just going forward with it. And even if it seems impossible, like in my situation, out-of-state tuition is twice as much. How am I going to afford this? And it happened. I had the refund check, like I said. So don't just rely on your own understanding. Know that if you really want it and you work hard for it, it's going to happen. And one thing that I'm a true believer of as well is reaching out and asking for help. I know a lot of people do not like it, especially men. I would say they don't like to ask for help. But it's there's somebody out there that's willing to help you and go beyond whatever to help you make it happen. And that's exactly what I did. I know individuals that might have certain backgrounds or status or whatever, they're scared to talk about it. But I'm always talk about it with somebody you trust, because they might know somebody that will make it happen. They'll move anything and they'll reach out to their contacts, pull strings, whatever, to make it happen. So definitely, there's a will, there's a way, and then don't be afraid to ask for help. So.
Yes, absolutely. You're so right. Most times men, they have that hesitation, and obviously it probably comes with even more that comes with being, you know, being a man and a provider and supposed to know
Right.
everything. But just in general, like, it's so vital. It's so important. And there are people, like you said, there's people out here that will help you.
Yeah.
There are organizations like Trio. So let's transition over to Trio. So you now serve as the community outreach manager for the Trio programs. What does that role look like, and why is it so important?
Yeah, so right now, a big part that I do, I used to, when I first started with Trio, it was more like working with clients on a day-to-day basis and helping them with the whole process. And now transition more into a role where I'm reaching out to the community and letting them know about what we offer and what we do. Because believe it or not, you know, this is federally funded. There are Trio programs nationwide, but they still don't know that this resource is available. So with what I'm doing right now is reaching out to the community, just letting them know, like, this is what we do and this is how we can help you.
Right.
We target not only high school students, but also adults that are low income, first generation, and just helping them with the whole process. And then I run a mobile app that we have. And with that mobile app, it's called EOC at LR. There's community resources from like food pantries to job fairs and any resource that will help them eliminate barriers to be able to get into college. They're there. So I encourage anybody to download it and see what kind of resources they can find on there. Yeah.
I love that. Has there been any specific moments where you've, like, since you've been involved in the Trio program, has there been a moment where you're like, wow, this program is needed and is truly making an impact, like through a student's life?
Yeah, so I actually have a student that at that point when I met her at our house because that's where I used to go to. And at that point, I think she just gotten out of prison and was struggling with a drug addiction. She was homeless and she had a daughter. And, you know, I was helping her through the college process and I worked with her for a few years. And then I have her as a friend on Facebook. So now just seeing her thriving with, like, she got her apartment. She's had it for a few years now. She has custody of her daughter. They're like traveling and she's got a good job that she enjoys. And just seeing that, you know, because of the support that we provide and just being there for her, she's able to now thrive. And then just seeing different stories like that. I know we'll get into Mamás Unidas in a minute. That's like my passion project.
Yes.
But just through that organization, I'm seeing lives being changed and just being able to provide better opportunities where the students before didn't see themselves, didn't see others that looked like them, going to college or getting a good job. And
right.
So,
right.
yeah.
So good. And I just love the work. I love the work that you're doing. Like I said, you're not just talking it. You have walked it and you're walking it along with them as they're navigating life and navigating life's challenges, because it gets real.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, to know that they have someone who truly does understand that'll I'm sure they understand, like, the impact of that, and you do too. So thank you for what you do. Literally, thank you. So I want to know, before we transition over to Mamás Unidas, what are some of the biggest misconceptions families have about going to college?
Ooh. Let's see. I think the biggest one is like the cost. Like, yes, and I say that specifically because, you know, the families that we work with being low income, well, that's one of the biggest barriers. But what they don't realize is that there's a lot of assistance. And, for example, a lot of the students that we work with end up going to a community college first. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's another misconception. Like, they have to go to the top college, they have to go out of state. Right. But what that does is it makes it less likely for you to go to college because you think you have to go out of state, or you end up in way more debt, which that debt is just going to follow you the rest of your life. And we've seen what that debt can cause, where you're not even able to get a car or like rent an apartment, or, you know, they're garnishing your loans. And especially right now with everything that's going on, they're becoming being able to afford to pay your student loans are becoming more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So that misconception is you can start at a community college and basically go for free. Like
Right.
here, specifically like Arkansas, most community colleges will be covered by your FAFSA. So if you're low income, you'll probably get the FAFSA, which is the Pell Grant money. You'll get the full amount.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be going to Pulaski Tech or whichever one's to a community college for free, and you'll probably get a refund check to buy your books. And then there's like the Arkansas Lottery, and there's the institutional scholarships. So
Right.
there's a lot of scholarships. You just have to decide, or come to terms that it's okay to start like at a 2-year and then
Right.
transfer to a 4-year. You'll get a
Mhm.
transfer scholarship. And then one thing I always tell them is when you graduate, it's going to say graduate of whatever 4-year school. It's not going to say, oh, I went to a 2-year school, then I transferred here. Like, no, it's going to say that 4-year college, and it's going to be just as good as whatever other degree from other school. Because at the end of the day, it's what connections you made and how you took advantage of opportunities and internships and the connections, everything while you were in school. So
yes, 100%. And I'm so happy this is what this conversation is about. Like you need to know there are different paths that you can take.
Exactly.
And I think what it is we're always spotlighting these bigger universities, right? But like you said, there's so many. It's same degree. Like you still have a 4-year. You still have your bachelor's, even if you go, to a community college first and then transfer. And people do it all the time. And when it comes down to getting a job, she is so 100% right. They're not looking at, oh, this person transferred. They're just looking at that you have that degree at the end of the day.
And a lot of times, they want to follow their friends. Like, well, they're going to U of A or they're going to Texas A&M, and they want to follow friends and not feel left behind. But you don't know your friend's situation. They might have parents that have money. You might not. So just do whatever is best for you. Don't follow the crowd. That's a huge thing.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, dropping some gems. And we need to hear this. We need to hear this. So let's you've given us a lot of great advice about the TRIO program. Definitely please check that out and how you can get involved and connect with Sandra. I'm sure if you have any questions, she will be happy to also answer any of those questions if you are interested in that. So let's transition over to Mamás Unidas LR. So I want to talk about, you co-founded that in 2018, the organization. What inspired you to create the organization?
Yes. So, I was a TRIO during that time. Like I said, I was more client facing and helping them. And at that time I heard, oh, there's a group of moms that are getting together and just sharing information to help their children go to college. So at that point it was just literally moms meeting at like McDonald's, Panera Bread, and just like seeing, okay, well, I found this, or just sharing information. And there were these moms, a lot of them didn't go to school. Like all they had was their elementary education. A lot of them didn't understand English or didn't speak English, and they didn't understand the educational system. So I heard of them and I reached out. I was like, hey, this is what I do, and I speak Spanish, so I can come give a presentation about how to access college.
Right.
And I went, presented. I still have those photos. I love going back and looking at them. We're like sitting at Panera Bread on University, and I'm like, passing out flyers and telling them like, this is how we can help you, la la. And I'm so excited because the Hispanic population has a special place in my heart. That's kind of my, everybody wants to help whatever it's close to their heart. So to me, that's always been there. So I was so excited. Like, right now with TRIO, I help everyone, and I see that sometimes because of their immigration status, they're not able to get support through TRIO. So doing this could help, open doors to more students. Anyways, I was so excited, and I told them like, this is needed. Like, we need to make this big. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. So at this point, they really don't know me, and I'm like, what, 21 at that point. So they're like, what is this little girl doing? This is a grown woman. And I'm like, no, we could, let's do an event and whatever. So they decided to do an event and check it out to see if there was a need in the community. So that day, we always like to say it was raining, so we had no expectation. At this point, it's not a nonprofit or anything. It's just the group of moms putting it together. They had over 100 people come that day to this little presentation that we're going to have. So we're like just mind blown, like, oh my God, like this is needed in the community. There's no other nonprofit that's providing this type of information for access to higher education. So from there, that's kind of like the proof, like, we need to do this. So I started doing research, like, let's see how we can become a nonprofit. And we reached out to the Bowen School of Law. They have like a clinic there. And they helped with the whole paperwork. And then, like they said, the rest is history. Here we are, 8 years later. We're helping hundreds of students each year from individual one-on-one appointments. We're taking them on college trips out of state. We just load a bus of community kids and take them. We do our famous ACT prep, leadership academy. So we're doing a lot with these kids. We're still volunteer based. So right now we're finally getting one person that will potentially be getting paid. But so far for 8 years, it's been just volunteer based, just out of our hearts. We've been doing all this work and we're seeing the impact that it's making.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Oh my gosh, the impact. And like you said, and this is specifically for the Hispanic community, right?
Yes.
And seeing that need, right? Seeing that need. And so I want to know, like, how did you specifically find out about this group? Was it just through social media?
Well, it was at that Panera Bread time when I went and presented, and I saw these moms that were trying to do this. I was like, we can do more than this. Like, that's when I said, let's become a nonprofit. And let me tell you a full circle moment during this. So when I was at Central doing the internship, my last year of college, there was a student there that I didn't help her fully. I'm not going to take credit for it. She did like the majority of it, but I was there to support if she needed any help. Well, 2-3 years ago, I ran into her at a festival, and she's like, hey, oh my God, Sandra, I just wanted to thank you for being there for me and for supporting me. She went to, what's the name of that college? It was a high tier college. I can't remember. It'll come to me. But she went to this college and graduated, and now she was a teacher. And then she said, I want to know how I can help. Well, at this time, we were with this MIJO program that's part of Mamás Unidas, and we work with highly achieving students to get them into highly selective colleges. And I was like, well, look, if you ask, the Lord will provide. So we were looking for somebody to help us with this. And then she just came and she's like, oh, well, I want to be involved. So now from me helping her, now she's coming back and she's helping us with the students now. And with this MIJO program, we had students, we just had our second cohort graduate. And we had 3 Quest Bridge finalists, which these students, if it's like a national program where it's really hard to get into, but if you're a finalist and you match with the college, like a highly selective college, you get a full ride. So we had 3 students that were finalists, 2 of them matched. So one is going to Davidson. Sorry, 3 matched. One is going to Davidson. The other one is going to Bowdoin. And then we've had some of them go to Amherst and Boston College, everything paid, like full rides. So we're just super excited to like have these students from, a little town or this little program of 9 students, and 3 of them are finalists of Quest Bridge, which is like a national huge thing. And just seeing the colleges that they're going to is just amazing to see. Like, we're over the moon.
That is awesome. And that right there, when you think about impact, just even on a deeper level, how that will change that's changing that student's life. To be able to have that type of exposure to those type of opportunities, right? Not just here in Arkansas, but we're talking about out of state. That is amazing.
Yeah, and like this summer we had several students through the connections that we make. We had 5 of them go to DC with ACLU to do like a policy workshop or something like that. But they're there. 2 are going to Florida. Then we had one have a local paid internship here with another of our partners. So it's not only like us helping them get into college, but it's like we're having to go out and make these partnerships and these connections to then provide those opportunities to those students.
Exactly.
So then, like, one thing I want to mention is like for other individuals that are wanting to make an impact, like this is all free. You know, we're not taking into our pockets. I'm not giving them a scholarship out of my pocket. It's just taking the time to meet other people and make that connection to give the students an opportunity.
Right. Oh, that connection piece, that relationship building. We hear about it and we even talk about it, but like having that relationship building to the point where sometimes it's as simple as that to be able to impact these children's lives. Right. So that is just so awesome. So 2025, Day of Service, you all recruited 160 volunteers and raised more than $40,000.
Yes.
How were you able to build that level of community support, right? You're talking about relationship building, but like to be able to have that level of impact, what would you say has contributed to that?
Yeah, and you know, for that, we were trying to figure out a way to fundraise money for the nonprofit. Like I said, we're all volunteer based, but there's still cost for the student participants, and we love to provide food and snacks for them because that's just the Hispanic culture, you know, and we're going to treat them like they're our own kids. And so we're like, okay, how are we going to make this happen? The first year we did a gala, and it's just like a lot of work with the gala. Plus, everybody else does a gala. So we're like, we want to do something different. And then we kept it at that. And then one day I was in the shower, and, you know, they said the best ideas come when you're in the shower. And I was like, why don't we do a day of service? Because one, we're giving the students the volunteer hours that they need. 2, we're helping the community.
Right.
3, we can use it to fundraise money and then make a bigger impact. So we're like, okay, let's go with it. And just having built all those partnerships, and now at this point we have like those relationships with the families and the students, and we're trusted at that point. So it was more like, okay, let's do this and figure out what exactly it's going to look like. So now we just had it again. This is the 3rd year that we have it. So in 2026, we had it at Lacey Academy, and we were able to recognize community leaders. We had almost 200 volunteers that went out, over 800 hours of community service. We had some at the food pantry, Animal Village, our house. They were just there. So it's a whole day of just giving back to the community. So that's why it's such a easy sell per se. Like we get the support because we're not just asking like, hey, come to this fancy dinner and just hear us present awards, which, you know, that's usually everything you hear for fundraisers. It was more like, pull up your sleeves, let's get dirty, let's go and clean this cages for these animals, and you're our sponsors are going to be next to a student and a family where they can make that connection and maybe tell them about their services and see if they can have a greater impact. And then at the end of the service, they all go to their designated location. Then we all meet in one place to have that celebration, and we feed them, we have live music, and we just make a whole day out of it. So I feel like that's an easy sell to get people to support us.
Yes, because again, you're not just saying, like you said, you're not just saying, hey, come and see the wonderful things we're doing. Like, no, we're working.
Exactly.
We're working. We're going to celebrate, but we're working, and we're serving the community. And all of this, even today, with like everything we've been talking about, it's this service that you all are providing to the community. And that alone, like by itself, it's the impact that makes, right, on not only just the next generation, but this Central Arkansas community is just amazing. So definitely kudos to you and everything you're doing. So I want to know, like, y'all are just constantly, I feel like, just rising above. What do you see for the future of Mamás Unidas moving forward?
So right now I'm excited. We're working with just building this catalog of services. So we're really defining what we want to focus on, because very early on it was like COVID years. We're like, well, let's pass out food, or let's do this, let's do that. So I feel like we were all over the place and just like, okay, let's figure out what we're going to do next. And then we do that thing. And it's like, okay, what next? But now we're creating a plan where we know exactly what services we're going to focus 100% on access to higher education. Everything is family and student focused. And we're looking into hiring a person, eventually full-time, but right now, we're working on that part-time person. We already have our calendar planned out for a year. So we're becoming a lot more strategic, and then opening up new opportunities. We're about to sneak peek. Nobody has heard about it publicly yet, but we're opening a new cohort of students. We had the MIHO program for highly achieving students, but this one is for students that want a better future. They don't have to be highly achieving. Sometimes just because you don't have a 4.0, does not mean that you don't have aspirations or want to do better for yourself. So this is for those students that are just fighting to wake up and survive another day and hope for a better future. So we're going to have this program we're excited about, but mainly just trying to be more strategic about the services that we offer, and then seeing how we can grow. We hope that in 5 years we'll have a full-time staff, our own building, hopefully. And then that funding piece is always very, very difficult, but we hope to have more established funders and grants and things like that, which is why my title recently changed to the development director, so that I can focus more on looking for funding opportunities for what we do. So
I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, definitely have a lot underway. Please tell the listeners how they can get involved with what you all are doing, where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, so you can follow us on social media. On Facebook, it's Mamás Unidas LR, or our website is mamasunidaslr.org. They can email us, admin@mamasunidaslr.org. So there's tons of ways there. You can find me on Facebook too and shoot me a message, and we'll figure out how to put you in contact with the right folks.
Yes. Well, I will also drop Sandra's information in the description, so you all can definitely take a look, support their initiatives and what they're doing. Even if you are a student and you have questions, if you are an adult and you're listening, you want to volunteer, this is a great organization to volunteer in. And if you are a potential investor and you want to invest in what they're doing, this is a great organization to invest into that is literally bringing impact every single day to these students' lives. So I will have all that information below. Please check it out. Well,
and let me just clarify one thing. So I know Mamás Unidas is more for like the Spanish-speaking communities, because we saw there was a need, but that doesn't mean we're not working with other students, because with TRIO, it's anybody. The only requirement is for them to be low-income first generation. So doesn't mean, oh, I'm not Hispanic. It doesn't matter. Mamás Unidas is more the nonprofit that we created on the side to meet that need. But the TRIO programs are helping the students, any student here in our community. So definitely reach out if you're needing assistance with getting into college for the first time or trying it again. So
yes, so good. And I'll have TRIO's information below too. Does TRIO have their own social media? Or
it's TRIO EOC Central AR. I know that's a whole mouthful, but we can put it here as well, but it's STRIO, EOC. EOC is the type of program, which is Education Opportunity Center, and then Central AR in this area.
Perfect. Well, we're coming to the end. I have another question for you. When you think about the legacy, right? And I definitely say the legacy you're building yourself as well. Yes, with the team, but like you as an individual, even with the organizations you're involved in, what legacy do you hope to leave in education and community development?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I think it will be more like providing that access, and then as students go in, one thing I always tell them, like, remember to come back and help the community. And that's what that's what I'm trying to do as I move forward, with everything I do. It's like I receive the assistance and I come back and I'm helping the community. So that's one thing I always try to tell the students, like, you're here now, but once you're up there, remember us. So that legacy will be almost this like cycle where you get assistance where you most need it, you go and do great things, and come back and help those that now need that support that you once needed. So leaving that legacy right there of always come back and help your community.
So good. It's one thing to be up, but when you can reach back, that's another level of, I believe, success and impact that you can have and reach, right? It's good to be successful. We want that, and you are going to be successful, but also don't forget to reach back.
Yeah, and we've seen it, not as much as I wish we would see it, but we've seen it where they've become partners with us to provide scholarships for students. We've seen that. We've seen some, like I said, volunteer for some of our activities. So we're seeing it, but I hope to one day see, most of the students that we help, they're coming back and saying, hey, let me fund this scholarship or this program, or let me be a mentor, or let me see how I can help those students.
So good. I love that. And I just love everything that you all are doing. Everything you all are doing. Last question. If you could go back to the young girl that was, in that challenging moment and trying to figure out if you were going to go to college and what that was going to look like, if you could go back and give her any piece of advice to see where you are now, what advice would you give her?
I think it would be just trust. It's going to happen. Just continue to work hard and just reach out to others, and you'll be okay. Mainly, like, you'll be okay. A lot of times we get so worried about our future and just want to give up, but it's like, it's going to be okay as long as you continue to do what you're doing, even if it doesn't seem like you should keep going. It's like, oh, I just want to give up. Just keep doing it. You'll be okay. I just seeing that 8-year-old girl, no English, whole new country, whole new food, throwing up on every car ride because we didn't ride a cars over there. It was mainly walking, and then just being where I am now. It's like, you're gonna be okay all along. It's just trust in the process, trust in the Lord, and working hard. Yeah.
Wow, just phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the community for these students. That's what this podcast is about. It's about impacting the next generation of leaders through this authentic conversation and your real life experience. So just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Just keep doing what you're doing. And
thank you. This has been fun. I really appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Well, all right, y'all. That is it. This is It's a Wifey Thing podcast. I'm Pansy Johnson, y'all. This is the Leadership Corner series. We're going to keep these coming, and we will see you in the next episode. Peace.